Alright, let's see how much dough we've got here. Uh-oh. You ever run out of money for clothes, utilities, food, and most importantly, games, because you gave all your money to Captain Toad? You deserve this. Well, what if I let you in on a little secret? Just between us, okay? Games don't need to be $60. Games on the eShop come in all kinds of shapes and sizes and go for many different prices. Some as high as 60, but also some as low as 5, and some even below that. And in today's video, we're going to check out 21 fantastic eShop games that come in at under $5. But we do have some rules. Rule number 1, no free-to-play games because they are free, and you can just go play them, you don't need a video for that really. And rule number 2, no sale items. We want the permanent retail price of $5 and under. Anything that's on sale does not count because that can fluctuate in time, and I want this to be a timeless video. So join us as we count 21 fantastic Switch games for under $5. Coming in at $4.99 is one of my favourite games of all time. It's 1993's Doom. This may be a 27-year-old first-person shooter, but it still has so much more care and love put into it than so many games made nowadays. Doom holds up remarkably well, and this version in particular launched in an okay state, but with numerous patches, it's become one of the very best versions of Doom. It's in widescreen, it runs at full 60 FPS, and there's even gyro controls in the Switch version. If you've never played it, do yourself a favour and play Doom. It's never too late. But also, play Doom 2! Just looking at them side by side, Doom 1 and Doom 2 may look very similar, but the differences mean a lot. Doom 2's levels are much larger and more elaborate, which some may see as a negative, but all negatives are put to the side because of the Super Shotgun, one of the very best weapons ever conceived in gaming. Doom 1 and Doom 2 are must-haves, and they're both only $4.99 on the eShop. And also, Doom 64! This is the final Doom, I promise. But not the final Doom. So up until last year, Doom 64 was stranded on the N64 and was kind of forgotten as a hidden gem. This was kind of the Doom 3 before Doom 3. It's a completely original Doom with its own levels and even its own feel. This doesn't really have the pumping metal of the prior Dooms, but rather something a bit more atmospheric for its soundtrack. It makes for a very different vibe, and the levels themselves focus far more on exploration. Don't sleep on this or any Doom game because Doom 1, Doom 2, and Doom 64 are all only $4.99 on the eShop. But anyway, that's enough doom and gloom, let's get a bit happier with Tokitori. If you've been in the gaming space for a while now, Tokitori may sound a bit familiar, and that's because it started off as a Game Boy Color game. It was later remade on WiiWare, and this is basically that version, but in HD. Tokitori is $4.99, and it's basically a puzzle platformer where you can't do much platforming. Every level gives you a limited amount of abilities, so you can either make bridges, teleport around, or shoot things with your giant ice phaser gun thing. So it's basically up to you to get all the eggs as efficiently as possible. Tokitori is still a lot of fun. And also coming in at $4.99 is Golf Peaks. Now the Switch eShop has a lot of golf games, so what makes this one special? Well, this isn't really a golf game, it's more of a strategy game. Basically, every course gives you a number of cards, and using those cards you can move around a number of spaces. If you run out of cards, you can't move, so you have to be very careful. There's over 100 levels too, so you definitely get your money's worth with this one. Downwell comes in at $2.99, and this is the only game on this list with gun boots, so take that for what it's worth. Downwell is a very simple roguelike platformer where you basically fall down a pit and shoot things with your gun boots to kind of hover above them and destroy everything below you. Don't let the low price put you off though, this is a very good game. There's such an addictive loop. This is definitely one of those one more try kind of games. Coming in at $3.99 is a collection, the Gammon Clive HD collection. Now Gammon Clive was already one of the best values on the eShop, and I'm not just talking about the Switch. They originally came out on 3DS, and even on their own, they were so worth it. These are really fun Mega Man style platformers, and the art style is so original. Not only that, but it looks great in HD. For $4, there's not a whole lot more you can ask for with these games. They're still so much fun, and for that price, go for it. Coming in at $4.99 is Mum Hid My Game. Now, I had some leftover eShop credit, so I bought this on a whim, and it's surprisingly good. It's a point-and-click adventure where you basically have to get your game back because your mum keeps hiding it from you. If you're a fan of WarioWare, I think you'll really like this style. It goes so over the top. Like in one level your mum hides your underscript handheld thing in this cupboard, but there's a triathlon in your living room. So to get to that, you have to get a pin, put it on the floor, knock everyone over, likely maining them, and then, and only then, can you go and get it out of the cupboard. It's okay if people get hurt, as long as you get your game. And also at $4.99 is the spin-off of Mum Hid My Game, Hide and Dance. Now this is the newest game on this list, only coming out recently, and it's basically a rhythm game mixed with Game & Wario's Gamer Mode. So you've got a match to the beat, and keep an eye behind you because if your mum catches you, she will not be happy. There shall be no dancing in this household. Both Mum Hid My Game and Hide and Dance are surprisingly good. They're utterly absurd, but if you like that thing, you'll love these games. Time for the cheapest game on this list, at 99 cents is Ding Dong XL. Now this is a very simple game. Basically you jump back and forth and avoid all the shapes, but the longer you stand there, the bigger you grow, making yourself easier to hit. So there's a risk-reward to it all, making it surprisingly addicting. There's definitely not much depth, but for 99 cents, this is still a surprisingly good game. There's even a multiplayer mode in there. So if you just want something to kill some time, Ding Dong XL is surprisingly good for the price. Now, here's a very strange one. Earth Wars comes in at $4.50. Now, that's not the weird part. The weird part is the very same game with a slightly different name being Earth's Dawn. It's $29.99 on Steam. I don't know why this is, these are the exact same game. But yeah, the Switch version is $25 cheaper. Very strange, but hey, we'll take it. If you like high-action hack-and-slash games like Bayonetta and Devil May Cry, this is basically a 2D version of that. Like them, you'll be juggling melee and gun combat, and it's surprisingly exhilarating at times. Like just barely dodging something at the last moment, and then hacking someone from behind, and then shooting them in the air, and then dodging that, and slashing someone else. There's a great flow to the combat. It does get a bit repetitive as it goes on, but for $4.50, there's a lot of quality here. Who's ready for a spooky Halloween game? And the scariest thing is the low price of $2.99. This is Night Terrors. Night Terror is an auto-runner where you jump over spikes and slash through enemies. The art style is quite reminiscent of Ghosts and Goblins, and just like that game, you also get power-ups. It is quite basic, but every single level is procedurally generated, so there's a ton of value in here. For $3.99, we have Nucleon. This one is handheld mode only, as it relies on fast reflexes on the touchscreen. Basically numbers appear, and all you have to do is either count up or count down. There is a bit more to it than that, but that's the general gist. That on its own may not sound too exhilarating, but the zany backgrounds and music really elevate the gameplay. This is a great puzzle game to get into that zen-like state. Coming in at $4.99 is the original Dragon Quest. Now, the Switch is rolling in Dragon Quest. There's Dragon Quest 1, Dragon Quest 2, Dragon Quest 3, 11S, Builders 1, Builders 2, and in Japan there's Heroes 1 and Heroes 2. But this is the only one under $5. If you played 11S and want to find out where it all began, this is still a really good game. Dragon Quest has always been rather traditional, so going from the most recent entry back to the first one really isn't that jarring. I guess the biggest difference is random encounters. Now, this isn't based on the NES version, but rather the mobile version, which has big, chunky sprites, which look a bit bad looking. But if you can get past the art style, this is probably the best way to play the first Dragon Quest. It's a great piece of gaming history, and it's still really fun today, so give Dragon Quest 1 a go. The most expensive game on this list, coming in exactly $5, is Pan Pan. This may share a very similar art style to Monument Valley, but the gameplay itself is pretty different. Pan Pan takes place essentially in an open world, and basically what you have to do is keep pushing forward. You've got to solve puzzles and keep opening up brand new areas. Artistically, this is a really striking game, and the soundtrack heightens everything. There's not a whole lot quite like this on Switch, so give Pan Pan a go. Coming in at $4.99 is Bury Me My Love, which tells the story of Syrian refugees via text messages. The writing in this game is absolutely stellar, and while there's not a great deal of gameplay, it's still a story that could only really be told through a game. For that reason, this is pretty special. There's definitely not much like this, so for sure, give this one a go. Kid Trip is $3.99, and for that price, it for some reason comes with a demo. So if you're not sure about $3.99, I guess give the demo a go. This is another auto-runner where you basically jump through some very Sonic Master System looking levels and throw projectiles around. It's not a long game at all, but it is very fun, challenging, and addictive. And like I said, there's a demo, so you have no excuse not to even try this one. Here's another game that will burst your wallet at exactly $5, it's Ambition of the Slimes. If you're a fan of Final Fantasy Tactics and want something a little bit like that but for a low price, well, this might scratch that itch. Ambition of the Slimes is a tactical RPG where you can use your slimes to possess enemy units. The general look is a bit basic, but that core gameplay flow carries it pretty far. For $4.99 is Inferno II, one of the cheapest twin-stick shooters on the Switch, and also a surprisingly decent one. There's mild RPG elements, so you can keep on building your ship and making it more powerful, and there's even a co-op mode, so you can enjoy this with a friend. There's a lot of great shmups on Switch, but none of them are as cheap as this, and for the price, it's still pretty good. Another $4.99 is Kamiko. Now this game came out when the Switch was still fairly new, and it was famous back then for being the cheapest game on the eShop. That is certainly not the case now, and now Kamiko has to stand on its own for its quality and not its price. And you know what? It does. The art style is quite reminiscent of Hyperlight Drifter, but the gameplay itself is much smaller and more focused. All you really have to do is explore levels and turn on some switches, but you can also rack up giant combos with enemies scattered everywhere. It's a simple flow, but getting that combo feels really good. And finally, coming in at $2.99, we have Abyss. Longtime Nintendo fans may know Abyss as a DSiWare game, and it's pretty simple. Basically, you're underwater, and you have to navigate your way through a level without touching the walls. If you do, you go kaplowy. It looks really good in HD, and it's always really cool when older games get a new life on modern hardware. So what do you guys think? Do we miss any big games that you love? Let us know in the comments by telling us that we're bad humans, and that we're bad at our jobs, and should be replaced by robots. And press that subscribe button. Gosh, that would show us. And check out NintendoLife.com for a lot more Switch content. Until next time everyone, bye.